It is our pleasure to be joined by a man that is smarter than you, or at least that's what his podcast title claims. You can hear him on SiriusXM Radio. You can see him on Fox Sports. Geoff Schwartz is in the house. What's going on, big guy?
I just saw a video on social media that Taylor Swift fans are making tributes to Jason Kelsey on his retirement. Not even Travis Kelsey. They're doing it for Jason, his brother, which he deserves. But I don't know how you make a tribute video to an offensive center. Like I don't know how that video actually works. But nonetheless,
It's
what a world we're in, man. We got like Swifties making videos. They just took a bunch of pictures of Jason and made it into like a I don't have the audio on, obviously, but they just made it into like a collage. What a world we're in. What a world.
it just needs to be clips of him pulling, getting out on the edge in space, which I believe he's
Slow
the
motion.
best. He's the best
Oh, but
center
yeah.
in space I've ever seen. And then push highlights, which has to be the most miserable part
Okay.
of his life over the last couple of
Like
years.
Did
the
you
last thing you want to get good at, you know?
did you am I allowed to cuss on this show? Is that allowed?
You are.
Okay. So Laura Oakham yesterday, silent reporter, said that she talked to Jason Kelsey about the tush push and how he feels. And he said before every tush push, he yells, "Fuck my life." And then they snap the ball and he goes. And Jalen Hurts confirmed. And I gotta say, every time I've seen him like at the end of a tush push, he looks like he's been through hell. I mean, he is basically the spear of that tush push, and it will not work without him. And when he retires, it's not going to be the same anymore because he's so good at it. The Buccaneers actually stopped the other night. They finally did what I thought you had to do, which is basically if you can beat Kelsey to burrowing down, you can win. And a guy like on the Bucks got under Kelsey and just submarined himself and it stops the whole thing. But that play will not be around as much when Kelsey retires because it's not going to be as good. He's the reason why it works so well.
Yeah. And what a wild game. I mean, or wild season rather. The first half of the year, they were nails. And then it kind of fell apart there in the later part of the season. You know, I thought they had a really tough schedule and looked like they got tired. And I don't know what fell apart there the last couple of weeks and then into the playoffs.
So a couple things. One is their coach, I don't think is that great. I mean, he's a CEO head coach that saw a team get worse. Like if you're not going to coach one side of the ball, your team better be buttoned up, right? You better not have mental mistakes. You better be really good on both sides of the ball, just like it's plain execution stuff, right? And he hired these coordinators and the defense. I mean, Matt Patricia, sure, right, he's filled in at the end, but the defensive errors they had, I thought the lack of effort was pretty jarring on Monday night. Now they have a bunch of backups, I get that, but still, like you could run down the field and try to tackle guys. I mean, that just takes effort, right? It doesn't take skill to do that. Offensively, they lost Shane Steichen, and the offense has been a wreck this season. A couple injuries there, obviously, a wide receiver without Brown, but that doesn't excuse sort of the lack of preparation, it looks like at times on offense, where there's no answers for anything the defense gives you. And I go back to Nick Sirianni, they beat the Chiefs like 8 weeks ago. And if you recall, that video went viral again after their loss of him screaming at the Chiefs fans, like, well, take that, Chiefs. You're like, coach, you're an NFL head coach. You're not a meathead that calls into the radio. Like, what are you doing, coach? Like, have some maturity. And when your head coach shows a lack of maturity, I'm not really accusing the Eagles of being immature because I think they have a lot of veterans that are not immature. But this is kind of just bleed down into how you prepare, into how you process things, how you talk to your team. When you're so immature, you're in the huddle screaming in the tunnel, as I say, screaming at Chiefs fans. Like we don't see any of the high level coaches, college or NFL, scream at fans after a win. Like you won the game, buddy. Just take your win and go back to Philly. So it's just a lot of things I think wrong right now in Philly, and I don't think Sirianni survives this. The Eagles have fired coaches very quickly. Chip Kelly and Andy Reid had one bad season and was out of there, and obviously Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl for him, was out there I think 2 years later. So I don't think he survives. It's not. They need someone else. I don't know who that is, but it's not Shane. It's not Nick Sirianni.
Looking at what we saw throughout the 3 days on Super Wildcard Weekend, what game, like what result surprised you the most?
Um, Probably the Packers over the Cowboys. They were 7-point underdogs, which I mean, look, that Vegas sets the lines for reasons, and sometimes you win them and sometimes you lose them. But they're the youngest offense in the NFL, and they're the fifth youngest team since 1970 to be in the playoffs. And they looked not at all intimidated by the moment. on the road. And look, the Cowboys don't have the best home field advantage as far as like, it's not terribly loud in that place compared to other places, but still a road playoff game against a good team that doesn't lose at home ever. They did not look at all surprised by the moment. And that impressed me a lot. I think we saw though this weekend, the difference between a good quarterback and a dynamic quarterback, right? And how much that really matters. You look at CJ Stroud, and Flacco's older, that's a bad example, but what Stroud could do on the field, right? Even in Jordan Love and Dak Prescott. I mean, Jordan Love made throws in plays Dak Prescott can only dream of doing. Like some of those throws he made were really, really high level throws. Obviously, Patrick Mahomes and Tua, right? One guy, it's cold outside, does not matter. One guy, it's cold outside, can't complete any passes. It just all around the NFL this weekend. The one was the Stafford Goff, where Stafford is a better quarterback than Goff, but Goff just got it done. He's a better offense. He played it extremely well. You look at Jalen Hurts and Baker Mayfield. Jalen was fine in that game. It wasn't his fault they lost, but really having that dynamic quarterback, man, really sets you apart. And we look at this weekend, and it's just that's what's left. Lamar and Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Jordan Love, and even Brock Purdy this year has been really outstanding. I mean, there's just a lot of good quarterbacks left for a reason.
I think one of the matchups for a bunch of reasons, but just seeing that atmosphere there in Detroit was awesome. It didn't feel like an NFL atmosphere down the stretch of that football game, but Bucs and Lions, I mean, Lions got it rolling. They're going to be at home. It's going to be another really good atmosphere for them, but it looked like Tampa Bay found something and got their confidence back a little bit. They didn't necessarily come flying into the playoffs feeling great, but it should be a great matchup.
It should be really a lot of fun. You look at how the Lions are built, right? Just physical line of scrimmage, trying to just overpower you. But I really do worry about their pass defense. And you look at Baker Mayfield. I can't believe I'm like saying this about Baker Mayfield. I mean, they could go in there and throw for a lot of yards with Evans and Godwin. And I don't
say as many nice things about Baker Mayfield on this podcast as you want to.
I forgot
it will make
Oklahoma,
the people.
yeah.
It'll make the people that listen to it very happy, Geoff.
I mean, he's going to get himself like $40 million this offseason. I don't know how do you not, that's the going rate for Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones. Maybe he does the Geno Smith deal, like a 3 for 100 or 3 for 90, but has the last 2 years basically voidable. So the team can get out of it if he doesn't play well this season. But I mean, he's just done really well. And this game comes down, I think, a little bit to like who doesn't make the mistake, right? Jared Goff played a mistake-free game for the most part against the Rams. If Tampa Bay blitzes him, and they blitz everyone, they bring a lot of pressure. If Goff makes mistakes, I think the Bucs can win this game. If Goff doesn't, I think it'll be hard to beat the Lions in this atmosphere. You mentioned the Bucs. They lost the Saints and beat the Panthers 9-0 in their final 2 games before the postseason. I also think too, the Eagles are just dead. I mean, whoever was playing the Eagles was going to beat them this past weekend. So I think you can forcing Goff into mistakes, to me, is going to be the number one reason why the Bucs can win this game. The pressure gets to Goff, and he's not able to play as efficient as we've seen in the past.
What do you think about where the Chiefs are at right now? Clearly, I mean, Miami just looked like they were frozen in that weather at Arrowhead, a game that I was at, and I just was very underwhelmed by what Tua put on the field that night. But got to go on the road. Yeah. We haven't seen Patrick Mahomes have to go on the road in the playoffs. Every playoff game he's played, it's either been at home or it's been a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So what do you think about what you're seeing from the Chiefs heading into the divisional round?
I'm going to this game, by the way.
Nice.
My wife's cousin's husband. I don't know what you call that. Like, what's the official name for that person? But I hate, like, it's just a long intro to get to. Huge Bills fan. And after he was over watching the game some Monday night, it was like, it booked a ticket immediately to like fly to Buffalo. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll go too. It'd be a lot of fun. I've played there once, never been as a fan. Look, the Chiefs, I think people are still sleeping on them a tiny bit because of their offense this season, but their defense is really good, like really good. It's Super Bowl caliber defense. It's a legit defense. And offensively, I would say this every week, like, can they just catch the ball for one game? Like, can they just, can they catch the ball for a game? The Bills, I'm going to pull it up. I had it up earlier. The Bills, red zone defense is not terribly good, which the Chiefs aren't best in the red zone. I mean, put it this, I think the Chiefs are close to sort of playing the game they need to play to win in Buffalo. it's also worth noting that the Bills are so beat up on defense. They entered this game against Pittsburgh without 4 linebackers and defensive backs. That's a lot. They left with 4 more guys hurt. So like it's just, and they have 9 guys right now. I just read day to day on defense right now. I mean, that's if you don't have your starting linebackers and your starting secondary against the Chiefs, I don't care if they catch it. They're gonna be open. I mean, yeah, can they catch the ball? We'll find out. So I think the Chiefs are in good position here to steal this game. And 2 guys, the pressure on Buffalo in this game is going to be intense. You're at home. You get the Chiefs finally at home in the playoffs. All the pressure's on them. They're the favorite. They're the hottest team in the NFL right now. Are they going to be able to withstand playing that atmosphere and that pressure? Josh Allen's better at home than he is on the road, which I think benefits them. I just want to count the Chiefs out, though. I think people are looking at the offense and thinking they can't do anything, and they played well against the Dolphins. So it'll be fun, man. I can't wait to go. It's gonna be cold, not as cold as Kansas City was, Gabe. Like I have my outfit already set up. I should be fine. Just I don't think I've driven in traffic to a game in a long time. My patience will be tested for this one. Like I don't have no parking situation right now. I'm just gonna drive and find a lot. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. I don't know. Well, everything else is I got tickets. I got pretty good tickets. Like I got like 40-yard line on the Bills side for like $400 a ticket. It's like lower level. It's not bad, right?
No,
there are a lot of tickets. There are a lot of
hey,
tickets available for this game. I was surprised.
I'll tell you, when I was playing for the Bills, my wife, like my mother-in-law, they came to a game, and when they left, they were like, "This is the most fun we've ever had at a
Yeah.
sporting event." It is wild.
Yeah.
It's like a college atmosphere. That's what it is. There in Orchard Park, it's a blast.
I'm gonna tweet out like Sunday morning, like where the tailgates at. Just like hopefully find tailgates. I'm sure the Bills fans will be coming. I'm not doing tables. Don't get me. We're not doing that.
I want to see you go through a table, Geoff. Come on, man.
Our insurance is not good enough for that right now. No, we're not doing that. I'm off the NFL insurance. No,
you got access to a portable nuclear reactor. You could take Gabe's outfit that had the heated socks, heated vest, heated everything.
I had because I went to the Chiefs game and we were sitting outside.
I'm sorry to sit outside. Sorry.
I had a heated vest.
Yeah.
I had heated socks and heated gloves, all battery powered.
Yeah, I'm not
fantastic.
Doing that. I'm gonna do the
vest is the key. Like keeping the neck warm. Oh, game changer.
So I have a Carhartt jacket that's -40 rated that I bought when I played for the Vikings. So like that thing is money. I wore it this morning. It was 14 degrees outside in Charlotte this morning. I walked my dog. That's not a problem. I got the long johns. I'm good there. And I'm gonna wear the face shield,
Yeah.
I have a beanie. I'm bringing a scarf. I'll be fine. I'm gonna take the hot hands, put in my pocket. Here's a key, guys. I'm telling you right now. Y'all don't know this. Everyone uses those hot hands, right? That keeps your hands warm. You got to put them in your pocket. They don't work if you just hold them. They work in a confined environment. You got to put them in your pocket, put your hands in there. I'll be fine. I'm not worried about it. It's not that the cold is not again, like I'm sitting on the Bills sideline. I'm gonna be wearing my Chiefs gear. We'll see how it goes. No, good luck to me.
Well, it's going to be fun. Any fallout for the Chiefs if they don't win? It's felt weird this year. They're typically the team that has the most fun. It looks like everyone's always engaged. It's got a different feel to it this year.
Yeah.
And I don't know. You see any changes or anything happening there?
Yeah, it's a good question. They sort of lacked accountability, I think, a little bit this season, it felt like, and maybe that's Eric Bieniemy leaving and sort of not having that person there to really, because we know Eric Bieniemy is no problem speaking up and sort of challenging players, and I think they maybe missed that a little bit this season. The offense is always Andy Reid's, like that's not going to change. So maybe they need someone in there that maybe hold the players more accountable. But to be honest, they just need better wide receivers. Look, Rashee Rice very clearly is the number one guy moving forward. Is he a number one in a regular receiving room? Maybe he's a 2. But Kelce, look, here's the thing. Kelce's getting older. He's not going to be the same player moving forward. He looked very refreshed against the Dolphins. He had a week off. So, there's some older pieces like Kelce. They need to add a couple wide receivers, in my opinion. Good draft for that. Great wide receiver draft. Add a tight end, I would imagine, at some point in this draft as well. And then, you run it back with better players, in my opinion, for next season. The disappointing part about this year, though, is wasting that defense, because you don't probably have the same defense next year. Chris Jones will not be there, even though for large periods this year didn't look like he was even playing anyways. You got to re-sign Snee. Like, you have to spend some money to keep some of these guys. Willie Gay's gone. So I think that's a disappointment this year, is wasting that Super Bowl caliber defense, the best defense Patrick Mahomes has had. But I just wouldn't count them out, guys. I don't think that they're going to go into Buffalo and no show. So it'd be a pretty fun game, man. It's a 2.5-point spread for a reason.
Now you make me want to find a way to go to that game. Maybe
Dude.
I'll explore that. Maybe I'll explore that this afternoon. Dang you, Schwartz. Now,
let's go.
Looking at Houston at Baltimore.
Yeah.
What do we even do if CJ Stroud goes into Baltimore and lights up the Ravens and they win that game? Like, how do we even react?
I mean, the Chiefs will have a home game in the AFC Championship game again for the 6th straight season. That's how we react. No, it's interesting. Lamar Jackson is a favorite of 7 or more points, is like 1-8 against the spread in his career. They have not played well in kind of these big favorites in these big moments. The reaction, I think, for the Packers and the Texans this weekend is knowing you have your franchise quarterback, which is very powerful to feel as a fan base and really as an organization, right? The Texans know no matter how well he plays or doesn't play this weekend, Stroud's their guy. And you have him on a rookie contract. You don't have that with Jordan Love, at least. So the Texans can just spend the next 2 years loading up in talent and making that roster as good as possible and making a Super Bowl push. Like, that's what you know. And if Stroud plays well this weekend, you know even better. Like, guys, free agent pitch, like, hey, man, we're going to win a Super Bowl here with this kid. If he plays poorly, it's a rookie on the road, first playoff game. Like, that would feel that out of place. But if he plays well, accelerates that time. He's a baller, man. I didn't think he'd be this good coming out of college. And he got with a good head coach, a good system. The question, I think, also is their OC might be up for some head coaching jobs if he leaves, and I think we're maybe different feeling for next season. But Baltimore with Jackson has, they've had their moments where they haven't come up as big as they need to in the postseason. And I wonder if this is one of those where they're tight early on, and Texans are playing free. They have nothing to lose in this game. I think Baltimore does win in the end, but it wouldn't shock me if they lost. You kind of have to prove it to me you can win these games consistently.
Now, Green Bay, it was strange. I feel like I almost forgot that Green Bay still had a team this year. It was like they were so under the radar.
Yeah.
And they go in and just, do what they did against Dallas. And now all of a sudden, I thought San Francisco in the NFC is like clearly the best team and it's everyone else. But after that performance, I mean, they've got to have some serious momentum going into that game. Is there any way they pull it off?
I think this is the one game where you look at sort of, the Bucks, Texans, Packers, those 3 teams that won, sort of slight surprises in the way they won, I'd put it like that. And the Packers feel like the one that's going to have a big come down this weekend. I feel like, I mean, the Niners are healthy, and that when they're healthy, they're hard to beat. Multiple weeks to prepare for this game now. They obviously know the system LaFleur is going to run on because they run the same offense. It just feels like you're walking into a buzzsaw with a healthy Niners team. And the Packers defense, guys, is still not any good. They allowed 32 points. I know they didn't allow many points early in the game, but I think the Niners come out and just sort of do whatever they want to the Packers. Packers are a good story. Niners are just they're 9-point favorites, 10-point favorites for a reason. I mean, and sharp people hit the Niners immediately. They're a really good football team, and they're healthy. They're off a bye. The Packers are a great story, but they're back on the road again across the country. I think this is a tough game for Green Bay, with their personnel, with what the Niners can do. It just feels difficult.
Looking at all the matchups in the divisional round this weekend, you are a man that likes to place a wager for 6 on these games. What bet do you like the best this weekend?
I took Niners over 30.5 points against the Packers. Again, this is a Joe Barry defense, not great. So I think Niners just going to score a bunch of points. They scored 30 points, 13 times this season. They score a ton of points when things are right. I also looking at, I took Pacheco over 62.5 rushing yards against Buffalo. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Buffalo doesn't defend the run terribly well, and they're really injured in linebacker. I think it's going to run for a bunch of yards. And look, one way, and you guys know this, to quiet down a very raucous crowd is run the football, right? Is put that on the offensive line and just sort of grind out yards, hit the play action pass, and sort of take the pressure off Mahomes having to be the guy early in the game. I think Pacheco is a perfect guy for that. So those are the two I have locked in right now. I would lean Texans plus the points. I think that's just a lot of points to give a Texas team that can score in that situation. The Lions Bucks one, I don't really have a great feel for that one. Again, I think if you take an interception prop like Jared Goff throwing an interception, Baker Mayfield throwing, I think those are maybe the way to go in those games. All those numbers aren't really up quite yet. Those are kind of how I'm leaning so far in these games.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. What does it mean if Detroit's able to pull it off against Tampa Bay and they're in the NFC Championship? I mean, what type of it's crazy with Campbell.
Yeah. Maybe we have to reevaluate sort of how we look at coaches, right? I mean, everyone looked at Campbell like big giant meathead. I don't know. It's a good coach. I I think the way they built the team is awesome, right? I mean, when you focus on the trenches and you hit home runs, you're going to be good. Penei Sewell, all pro, right? I mean, third year, all pro. Hutchinson, Onwuzurike inside. Ragnow is close to being I think second team all pro this year, right? At center. They just have built inside out. I know we mocked them for drafting Gibbs and Campbell, but those turned out to be really good draft picks for them. Jameson Williams, they got obviously cheap last year off that injury. He's a contributor. Amon-Ra St. I mean, they just have done a good job building. I know St. Brown wasn't, I think, a Campbell draft pick, but and they play football not the right way, but they try to win. They try to beat you up. They play, I think, smart analytically, which is important in this day and age. I think that you can. The 4th and 7, or for not the 4th and 7, the 7-yard 2-point conversion was probably dumb for Campbell, but the rest of what he's done, I think, is time in Detroit's smart. When you have that mindset, I think, of always being aggressive, it permeates to the team, right? The team is always going for it. We're always good. Again, the end of that game, they threw the ball in 3rd and 7. How many teams just clam up, run the ball for 2 yards and punt? No, not like, let's be aggressive. I think that mindset just permeates itself through the team, and you prepare differently throughout the week, knowing you're always going for it. You're always going to score points. You're always moving forward. And I think that's kind of the lesson from Dan Campbell here. So it'd be great. It'd be super. I mean, imagine that Lions and Niners. I mean, imagine the Packers win that game. You have Lions Packers in Ford Field for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. I don't think I don't see Jared Goff. It'd be Brock Purdy, Jared Goff too. I mean, like, one of those guys going to a Super Bowl. I mean, like, look at the NFC. You have Brock Purdy, Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, and you have Jordan Love. In the AFC, you have Lamar, Allen, Mahomes, and CJ Stroud. It's a much different quarterback class depending on what conference you're in.
There's no doubt. All right, Super Bowl pick. What do you got?
Good question. I think the Niners win the Super Bowl this year. I think it's sort of lining up perfect for them to get it done this season. I never thought Brock Purdy was a Super Bowl winning quarterback, but when everyone's healthy for that team, they're hard to beat. I'm a little bit of an elitist too with the 1 seed thing, but I think both 1 seeds are there. That bye is so important, and we've seen until Tampa Bay did it with Tom Brady as a 5 seed. Most of the last 10 years, the team with the byes are in the Super Bowl. It's a big advantage. You play one less game, you're healthier. Less obviously travel, you're at home, and that tends to pay off. So I could see sort of Niners against the Bills probably, or the Ravens, I think, are the option there. I think Niners win the Super Bowl this season.
What's the matchup you'd want if you could hand select from the teams that are left?
Wouldn't like a Lions Bills just be like incredible? The atmosphere in Vegas would be just incredible. Like that would be. I mean, the Bills obviously
incredible.
You want?
I would say combustible environment.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of alcohol will be consumed in Las Vegas.
Every single person in Detroit, maybe in the entire state of Michigan, would descend upon Las Vegas.
It would be one of those where, we used to get tickets as players. We get 2 tickets obviously for Super Bowl, and you would try to resell them. Don't tell anyone that we did this. It never happens. And there were some years when you got, just a little bit of money, and some years we got a lot of money. This would be a lot of money game. I mean, you'd have to fly typically back to your home city and pick up the tickets or get them at on site. And it would be worth every cent to fly to Vegas, pick up your tickets, sell them to someone. I mean, you're going to get $5,000, $6,000 a ticket if it's Lions Bills. I mean, every person who is a fan of that team will descend on that city. So that's probably the most fun, I think, right now, the teams that are left, just from storyline and the city and the fan bases. Niners and Packers have done it before. Chiefs obviously have done it before. Ravens have won, recently enough. That would be the most fun, I feel like.
Can't let you run without talking some college football.
All right.
How are you feeling right now? Your Oregon Ducks were able to keep Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
But the Pac-12 is no more. We're transitioning from the 14 playoff to the 12-team playoff. Just how are you feeling about college football right now, big guy?
A lot of change, I still follow obviously the Pac-12 teams very closely. And it just, with one retirement of Nick Saban, I mean, teams out west, just the turmoil of Washington losing a coach, Arizona losing a coach, San Jose State losing a coach now. It's a lot. It's a lot of moving parts of college football now. The transfer portal, it's a different sport to follow. But look, I'm Oregon Duck, man. It benefits us. We got money. We got a good coach. Like we're getting good players. We're really good. So it's not something that I don't think I liked in totality, but I like it for my team. I certainly follow it. It makes our job tougher, but also so much more to talk about at all times. And it's a different sport than it was. I think eventually we might go back to, I think that the schools that have left out west are going to realize the Olympic sports have no business flying across the country to play their games. And what Chip Kelly suggested a month ago about sort of a football conference and everyone else goes back to basically playing regional is, I think, what's going to end up happening. I think after 3 or 4 years, Oregon, Washington, USC, I'm like, why are we flying to State College to play a volleyball game against Penn State? Like, what are we doing? That's dumb. Let's go back home and play teams out west. Flying to go play Rutgers in soccer. Like, why? Who needs that? Who's actually wanting that? Keep football. Let them play their big. The football schedules are great. Oregon has Michigan and Ohio State next season, and Washington. It's great. They're awesome football games. We're at Wisconsin in late November before Thanksgiving. How cool is that going to be? But there's no need for those other sports to participate in this. I think that's what direction we're going in, and changing college sports is happening fast, man. The portal is accelerating things. I mean, Caleb Downs just went to the portal while we've been talking. Alabama safety is going to have any team he wants to go to. So a lot of new things. And it's fun to follow, a little stressful at times, but that's the sport now.
And Nick Saban, he's done everything. He could retire whenever he want, but the timing, it has something to do with what's going on for sure. It's so much more difficult for the team to stay on the very top. Like I don't think anyone's going to have a run like he had again, at least under this current situation. The NIL transfer portal, the schedules. Alabama's about to play an unbelievable schedule. It's very, very tough. Do you think it's going to work with Kalen DeBoer there?
Saban retired for the same reason that, Jay Wright and Boeheim and all the Krzyzewski, all these older coaches have left. Chris Peterson, obviously, very clearly, can still coach, didn't want to do it. It's hard. It's a lot of time and energy. It's a young man's game now. You have to be on the phone and on these recruits and recruiting your own players. It's a lot. And I think he's just like, look, man, I've done my job. I've left Alabama in a better place. I'm going to be done and go out on my terms. A lot of coaches go out like Belichick. You finish 3-13 and you're like, you got to go, buddy. I'm sorry. Saban went out, not on top, but might have been his best coaching season. That team was not as talented as his team he's had in the past. Kalen DeBoer is interesting.
Michigan in overtime. And
what?
If they would have beat Michigan in overtime and then happened to maybe win the championship, do you think he's still done?
Yeah, I think this was sort of known around Thanksgiving. Washington athletic director They had their press conference for Jed Fish yesterday. And he said something like, "We knew by Thanksgiving Kalen DeBoer was not signing his extension because they offered him a new extension. He never signed it." And that's sort of, I feel like, when people sort of knew. I think these coaches, Sark and Norvell and Lanning, they knew about Alabama being open before it was. And they all sort of said no before they even got the chance to get down the road. And they used it obviously for recruiting, which is great. It's what you should do. But they all knew. They knew this was happening for weeks. And so I don't think winning that game or losing would have mattered very much at all. I think he was out no matter what. Kalen DeBoer has won everywhere he's been, guys. Everywhere he's been, he wins. The recruiting is the biggest question. He didn't recruit terribly well at Washington. Can he recruit the best players to win at Alabama? That's the question. If he can do that, they're going to win. This fit thing, like, I mean, Nick Saban wasn't a fit at LSU to go out to win. I mean, like, what are we doing? Like, you're not a fit till you get somewhere. And you figure that out. You know, he's not doing the fake Southern accent, which is good. The Brian Kelly, but fit's a dumb thing to say. Oh, does he fit? I don't know. He wins football games. That's what matters. And if he wins football games, he'll fit just fine. So to me, it's recruiting. It's, can he recruit? Offensively, you know, I'd put money on Jalen Milroe to be a Heisman finalist right now. I mean, this is what he does with this offense. So good hire, can coach, got to recruit better. We'll see how he does at Alabama with that.
Geoff, enjoy the trip to Buffalo. Bar-Bill Tavern for wings, undoubtedly the best.
Are you going to come now?
I'm going to explore the options. That's what I'm going to do, buddy. I will. I'll get to work on that. I'll see what it all comes down to my wife. You know how that works.
I feel like you can get a better opportunity to be in a box than I can. So just remember me. I need two tickets in the box.
Okay. I still know some people there, so we'll explore the options and I'll let you know for coming. But you're the best, man. Thanks for the time and
thank you guys.
Enjoy the game.
Take care.